Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine waking up in a world where every inch of your life is soft, easy, and curated to please you. Your bed adjusts to your ideal sleep cycle. Your fridge knows what you crave before you open it. Your phone flashes news it knows you agree with, offers entertainment that aligns with your taste, and delivers likes that feed your ego. Sounds perfect, right? But what if I told you this isn't utopia, it's a beautiful cage? We live in the age of hyper-comfort, the age of why struggle when you don't have to. Everything is designed for frictionless experience, frictionless shopping, frictionless entertainment, frictionless communication. And yet, something inside us is dying. We've been lulled into sleep by ease, numbed by convenience. We've confused feeling good with being free. But there's a massive difference between the two. You see, comfort is a wonderful servant, but a dangerous master. It begins with pleasure, but ends in passivity. It begins with freedom, but ends in dependency. And the scariest part? We don't even notice. Because unlike the cages of the past, iron, sharp, cold, this one is velvet. It feels nice. It flatters us. And that's why it's so powerful. You don't rebel against what makes you feel good. You thank it. You defend it. You even beg for more of it. Just like Huxley warned in Brave New World, we wouldn't be ruled by pain, but by pleasure. That the future wouldn't come wrapped in terror, but in comfort so deep that we'd never want to leave. And now, we don't want to leave our screens. We don't want to leave our preferences. We don't want to leave our instant gratification. We're willing to trade our time, our presence, our growth, as long as we're comfortable. But at what cost? What if in this beautifully padded cell, we are forgetting how to be human? What if the very things that soothe us are silently stealing our strength, our meaning, our freedom? This video isn't just about warning you. It's about waking you up before the numbness becomes permanent. Because here's the truth. The most dangerous prison is the one that makes you thank it for existing. Let's face it, we're drowning in dopamine. It's in your morning scroll, in the Uber Eats notification, in the next episode button, in that tiny red heart that lights up when someone likes your photo. These aren't small things. These are hits, microscopic shots of validation and stimulation, perfectly calibrated to give you just enough pleasure to keep coming back, but never enough to feel truly fulfilled. This is the trap, the subtle trap. You're not chasing happiness. You're chasing relief. Relief from boredom, relief from loneliness, relief from silence, relief from yourself. And the modern world, it knows this. It feeds on it. It monetizes it. It says, don't sit with your discomfort, swipe it away. Don't think too long, here's another video. Don't feel that ache, here's a new gadget to distract you. But distraction isn't healing. Pleasure isn't peace. Escape isn't growth. What's terrifying is how invisible this trap has become. We think we're in control. We think we're making choices. But in truth, we're being trained to avoid anything that requires patience, reflection, effort. Think about it. How often do you reach for your phone without even realizing it? How many times have you opened a social app, then forgotten why you were there in the first place? How many nights have slipped away in front of glowing screens while your real dreams gathered dust? It's not your fault, it's your design. Or more precisely, their design. We're not addicted to technology. We're addicted to the pleasure it promises. And like any addiction, it gets harder to stop the longer it goes on. But the saddest part? We don't even remember what life felt like before this. We become so used to being entertained. We forgot how to experience. And if we don't interrupt this cycle, this endless loop of craving and distraction, we risk waking up years from now wondering, where did my life go while I was busy trying to feel good? Somewhere along the way, we stopped asking the most important question of all. Who am I when no one's watching? When the likes stop? When the feed is empty? When the screen is dark? In the age of constant stimulation, silence feels threatening. Stillness feels like failure. Being alone feels like punishment. But what if those are the only places where the real you can still be found? You see, modern comfort doesn't just sedate you, it severs you from your inner life. We become strangers to our own thoughts, afraid of reflection, allergic to depth. We mistake the absence of noise for the absence of meaning. But that's not true. The truth is, in the silence, your soul speaks, and you've been ignoring it for a long time. We say we're lost, but maybe we've just been drowning in too much noise to hear our own compass. The more we chase curated perfection in our timelines, our images, our filters, the more disconnected we become from the messy, honest, raw reality of being human. And that's where the tragedy lies. Because your soul doesn't need another video. It doesn't need another dopamine hit. It doesn't need more comfort. It needs truth. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. So take a moment, a real one, and ask, when was the last time you were truly with yourself, undistracted? When did you last sit with a difficult emotion instead of drowning it in content? When did you last create something, not for likes, but because your soul ached to make it real? We've become so focused on keeping up, we forgot how to look in. But make no mistake, the cost of ignoring yourself is far greater than any discomfort you might face in rediscovering you. Because if you don't return to your real self, the world will gladly give you a false one, and it'll feel almost good enough. Almost. Here's a truth no one's told you lately. Discomfort isn't your enemy. It's your compass. We've been trained to see discomfort as a glitch in the system, as a sign that something is wrong. But what if discomfort isn't the problem, but the path? Think of anything worth having in life. Anything real. A deep friendship, a strong body, a creative masterpiece, a clear mind. They all come wrapped in struggle, in resistance, in boredom, in effort. They require you to show up even when you don't want to push through even when it's not easy, to endure before you enjoy. But modern life has sold us a lie, that life should always feel good, and if it doesn't, something's broken. So we run, from boredom, from silence, from challenge. But you know what else we're running from? Purpose. Because purpose rarely shows up in pleasure. It shows up in the moment you want to quit, but don't. In the conversation you're afraid to have, but do. In the project that takes months, but matters. Discomfort is the soil where all meaning grows. And the longer you avoid it, the further you drift from the life that's truly yours. So here's your challenge. Today, this week, this year, choose discomfort on purpose. Wake up early, even when it's cold. Say no to the scroll, even when it calls. Write the first page, even when it's not perfect. Sit in silence, even when it's awkward. Not because it feels good, but because it builds you. You were not made to be comfortable. You were made to be capable. So stop chasing ease and start chasing meaning, even if it means walking into the fire. Because that fire, that's where your real life begins. So, how do we begin again? In a world designed to keep you distracted, addicted, and pacified, is it even possible to wake up? The answer is yes, but not in the way you think. It doesn't begin with grand gestures. It doesn't require you to delete everything, move to the forest, or meditate for 10 hours a day. It begins with one small radical act: awareness. Awareness is the spark that lights the fire of rebellion in a culture that wants you numb. When you become aware of your habits, not to judge but to observe, something shifts. You start to see that the scroll isn't neutral, that the binge wasn't a choice, that the notification isn't your friend, it's bait. And suddenly you realize you've been walking someone else's path, following someone else's rhythm, feeding someone else's machine. But now you're awake, and in that awareness, you gain something powerful: choice. Not the illusion of choice, like which streaming service to pick, but real choice, like whether to consume or create, whether to numb or feel, whether to sleepwalk or rise. Start small. Leave your phone in another room while you eat. Take a walk without music or podcasts. Sit for 5 minutes and ask yourself, what am I avoiding? Choose one moment in your day to do something difficult, on purpose. These may sound trivial, But in a distracted world, they're revolutionary because every act of attention is an act of resistance. And every time you choose discomfort over ease, presence over noise, intention over impulse, you're breaking a chain. It's not easy. The system is built to reclaim you, but so are you, built to reclaim yourself. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. And once you're present, you can begin again. Truly. Let's talk about dependence, the kind we don't even notice. We like to think of ourselves as independent, autonomous beings. But look closer. We're more dependent than ever, not on people, but on systems. Need food? You don't cook, you tap. Need directions? You don't think, you Google. Need attention? You don't connect, you post. Need rest? You don't breathe, you binge. Everything has been externalized, outsourced, optimized. And while that might make life easier, it also makes us weaker, because the more we rely on convenience, the less we trust ourselves. We stop listening to our intuition because AI will decide. We stop solving problems because an app will fix it. We stop being curious because the algorithm will entertain us. We've confused ease with efficiency, but what we're losing is agency. The less effort we put into living, the more power we surrender to the systems around us. And here's the dangerous part. It doesn't feel like enslavement. It feels like progress. That's why it's so seductive. You're not told what to do. You're offered comfort. You're not forced to comply. You're rewarded for engaging. But bit by bit, your muscle for choice atrophies. Your will to resist softens. And eventually, you'll look up and realize you haven't made a truly free decision in weeks, maybe months, because the easiest life is often the one most carefully controlled. But life isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be real. So the next time something feels too convenient, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I choose to, or because it's the default? Am I being served or sedated? Because dependency isn't always about weakness. Sometimes it's about never having been given the space to be strong. Now is the time to reclaim that strength. So here's the question no one's asking. If pleasure isn't the answer, what is? We're not saying pleasure is evil. Joy is beautiful, but when it becomes your compass, when comfort becomes your God, something sacred is lost, and that something is meaning. You don't find meaning in ease. You don't discover your purpose in a dopamine loop. You find it in effort, in sacrifice, in showing up when you'd rather hide, in giving when it hurts, in facing something hard and not backing down. Think of the people you admire, the mentors, the builders, the creators, the change makers. None of them got there by chasing pleasure. They got there by chasing significance. But our culture doesn't celebrate that. It celebrates performance, virality, convenience, hustle, and it sells you the lie that meaning can be bought. It can't. You don't find meaning in likes. You find it in listening, in loving, in longing, in choosing what matters upon again and again, even when it doesn't feel good. As philosopher Søren Kierkegaard said, the greatest danger is to lose yourself and not even realize it. We're not just drowning in comfort, we're forgetting why we exist. But here's the beautiful truth. You don't have to wait for a crisis to wake up. You don't have to burn out to rebuild. You can start right now and by asking, what am I really living for? What would I keep doing, even if no one ever noticed? What pain would I be willing to carry for the sake of something greater? Meaning is never found at the finish line. It's found in the climb. So stop chasing what's easy. Start pursuing what's eternal, because pleasure fades, but purpose endures. Let's talk about freedom, not the kind you post about. Not the freedom to choose between 50 streaming services or 200 styles of sneakers. I'm talking about real freedom, the kind of freedom that begins inside, the freedom to be present in your own life, the freedom to choose discomfort when it's right, the freedom to say no, not because you're forced to, but because you're clear. Here's the irony. We think we're free because we can click, swipe, order, and escape at any time. But real freedom isn't the ability to escape. It's the ability to stay when it matters. To stay in silence and not run. To stay in pain and not numb. To stay in the process, even when it's slow and hard and uncertain. Most people will never know this freedom because they'll live and die inside the algorithm. They'll spend their days reacting to their cravings and their nights soothing the ache of never quite feeling whole. But not you, because you're still listening. That means something inside you is still awake, still hungry for more than what the world is offering. So start small. Turn off the autoplay. Sit through the urge to scroll. Practice doing one thing that doesn't give you instant gratification. Build the muscle of intention, moment by moment. Every act of discipline is an act of liberation. You won't feel it all at once, but one day you'll wake up and realize you're no longer a puppet. You've reclaimed something sacred, your direction. If you've made it this far, you're not just watching a video. You're standing at a crossroads. The question now isn't whether pleasure is trapping you. We've answered that. The question is, are you ready to stop choosing the easier life for the better one? We all want to feel good. That's human. But the obsession with constant pleasure, that's inhuman. It disconnects us from others. It erodes our attention. It rewires our brains, robs our resilience, and replaces our purpose with pixels. And yet, it's everywhere, wrapped in convenience, sold as empowerment, packaged as self-care, but functioning as self-destruction. To awaken is not to reject pleasure. It's to see it for what it is, a beautiful visitor, not a landlord. To awaken is to reclaim your mind from the marketplace, to be able to look at a distraction and say, I see you, but not today. To awaken is to know that your time, your breath, your presence, they are too precious to be sold for crumbs of dopamine. And when you awaken, truly awaken, you begin to live differently. You find joy not in stimulation, but in stillness. You find meaning not in comfort, but in creation. You find peace not in numbing, but in knowing who you are. So here's the challenge. Don't let this video be another hit of inspiration. Let it be a line in the sand. From this moment forward, you choose meaning over mood, depth over distraction, becoming over escaping. Not just once, every day, until the habits fade, until the chains fall, until you walk fully into the life that was always yours. Let me leave you with one final image. There are two paths in front of you. One is smooth, wide, paved with likes, fast shipping, instant answers, and quick hits of joy. It's easy, it's pleasant, it's popular, and it leads nowhere. The other path is narrow, rocky, winding through doubt, silence, solitude, and effort. It's harder, slower, often lonely, but it leads somewhere real. And that place, that's your mountain. It's where you become the person you were meant to be, where you create, where you give, where you endure, where you rise. You were not born to be a consumer. You were born to be a creator. You were not built to be entertained to death. You were built to build something that outlives you. So choose your path. Will you stay on the couch of comfort, or will you lace up your shoes, look discomfort in the eye, and climb? Because the world doesn't need more people feeling good. It needs more people feeling alive. And no algorithm, no screen, no shortcut can give you that. Only you can. So here's your invitation. Choose the mountain. It won't be easy, but it will be yours. And at the top, when you look back, you'll know that you didn't just survive life, you lived it. Fully, bravely, awake,